All right, guys, got something a little different this time. I'm going to take a look at a custom map that I've been building using the in-game editor here for Easy Red 2. Now, this is a feature that when I first saw this game, I was really intrigued by it. I've always enjoyed making my own levels and maps, and I was kind of into the modding community for different games in the past, and even somewhat considered game design as a career path for myself. Eventually kind of branched off a little bit. Now I do 3D modeling and architectural drafting, construction documents and design, things like that. So I'm still sort of in the whole building 3D modeling realm, just not with the game focus, but it's still a hobby. And I've spent a few weeks kind of learning the ins and outs of this editor, and Marco, the developer, has updated the editor recently with some features and some new models and things that have made it a little easier to use, and just kind of some quality of life things that are pretty great. So we'll just take a look here. The way this editor is built, if you're not too familiar with it, it has two features, or two separate sections. One is the create a map feature, and one is the create a mission feature. And the map feature is where you build the terrain and the geometry and kind of the environment of your level, where all the stuff's going to be happening in the battlefield. And the mission tab is where you create your spawn points, your objectives. You can set your time of day and weather and all the mission info. And that's kind of a nice feature because it allows you to easily make one big battlefield and then make multiple scenarios using that same terrain. And you can tweak them a little bit. You can add models and props and things that are only exclusive to each mission, but it's kind of nice. So the way that I've built this one so far, I have plans to basically have the Allied advance during the daytime, and then do a separate mission that's a counterattack for the Axis to come back at night, kind of give the battlefield that day-night vibe, and give you the feeling of an extended battle. Now, this map in particular, I've built in a way that's it's all urban. It's all very like tight-knit infantry combat. There's no vehicles. I've started to set up some mortar artillery stuff, but I haven't figured all of the ins and outs of that just yet. So it's that part will come, but maybe through some more playtesting. I don't want it to get overbalanced one way or another. So I'll just kind of jump in here to the mission editor and give a quick overview, and then we'll just kind of, oops, click the wrong thing. There we go. The map name I just named Rubble because it's a crumbled city, and the mission I just called Inlet because it kind of looks like an inlet of a river here. Haven't really based this on any particular historical event, but it's sort of set in the Italian type of environment here. So let this get loaded in, and I'll give you a quick overview before we do some playtesting. So with with such a rubbled city like this, you do run into issues with the bots trying to find their way around. And so in the map editor, you can't see it here, but I've set up invisible walls in certain places to block off places in the map that I don't, that are not really playable. Maybe they will be at some point. I don't know. It depends on how much this map really plays out. If it's good like it is, then I don't really want to add extra just for the extra work. But if it feels too small, too tight, I may end up adding some extra routes, other flanking opportunities and whatnot. Designing a map for bots, for offline single player, is different than designing something for a multiplayer environment, where in a multiplayer environment you really want to prioritize kind of that openness and give players the freedom to go where they want to go. It helps your rounds feel different each time. Obviously, you want to leave things like choke points in, and you have particular places that work really well with the flow of battle, but you don't want it to just kind of play the same way every time. When you're using offline bots, they're not quite as smart, obviously, and sometimes you do need to leave a little more of a linear path. I've found, not just particularly with this game because I don't have a lot of experience, but in other offline type of map making games or games with map makers, I've noticed that. So for this one, I'll just zoom out here and kind of give you a quick overview. What we have here in the initial phase is the allies over here on this side, and they spawn in and have to kind of fight their way up through here to the beginning of a bridge. And the first objective is just to secure the head of that bridge. The Germans spawn on the other side of the bank there. As you can see, they're right here. Got a few spawn points there. And the first part of this battle plays out pretty nice. Sometimes allies capture this a little too fast, so I may have to tweak that a little bit. The second phase is simply getting across the bridge and capturing that. Once the allies have captured this first point, the Axis spawn gets pushed back a little ways. As you can see there, these red squares over here. It's still a pretty good challenge most of the time in all my playtests so far. Just making it across the bridge, even though we've got a little footpath here. The water is sort of traversable. Definitely not over on this side. I've blocked all this off just to kind of keep the flow going the way that I want. The next phase moves to capturing the church over this way, and the allies get closer spawns from that point. This definitely becomes a bloodbath down this way. The Axis team spawns here and can kind of make their way through the city, going this direction. Leads to a lot of fighting right there for sure. The third phase kind of moves back across the city this way, allowing the allies to spawn at that church and make their way through the city. And the objective being capturing this building, I guess sort of like a headquarters of some sort. And the Germans spawn this way. They have multiple routes to kind of come through the city, but most of the time they end up funneling through this street right there. Once that's secured, the final capture point is on the other end of the city there, and the allies can spawn in this little market area, and they make their way through this way, and the Germans they have to spawn back on the other side of that bridge. And try to capture this final little point right there. Most of the map has multiple paths to reach each objective, and I've set up the spawn points in a way that help the bots spread out. So this church, for instance, if we look at phase 2, I have some allied spawns there and some allied spawns here, and adding little waypoints that allows some of the teams to come in from this direction, some of them to come in from this direction, and same with the Germans on this side. I have some of them coming down this path, some of them coming back from the rear side of the church. And in this scenario with bots, they do struggle to spread out, and so I found my experience so far, it's really important to move your spawn points around and add those extra waypoints and other paths. Otherwise, they just end up bunching up way too much, and it not only is it unrealistic, it's also just kind of not that fun because you never end up with flanking maneuvers, and you might be, if you're playing as the allies, you might be fighting this way and thinking all of your enemies are over this way, and all of a sudden they come pouring through from this end, or As the Germans, you might be advancing here, expecting allies to be there when suddenly you get reinforcements coming from this street. And so it's kind of added some cool elements. I didn't have it set up that way at the beginning, but through just practice and learning the way that the bots do their pathfinding, it really becomes important to learn how to position those. And there's probably still some more tweaks based on how long some of these take to capture. Some of them might fall a little too quickly, and I have to move up the reinforcements a little closer. There's still some geometry problems as well. From time to time, you get bots that get stuck on terrain or just flat out refuse to go where you want them to go. And I found it's definitely a back and forth where you might try something, see how it works, and maybe it works exactly like you planned it, but then that created a separate problem for a different phase. And especially if you're interested in crafting urban environments like this, I don't expect it to be quite as big of a problem if you're doing all like wide open terrain. Just give you this is all just prop scenery in the background just for added immersion. But if you have a wide open map, like let's just say flat grass and gently rolling hills, I don't think the bots will have as much trouble finding their way around as they would in an urban environment. But it hasn't been too bad. So with that being said, I'm just going to skip back here to the initial phase, and we'll just play as the allies since they're advancing, and we'll kind of see how it goes today. So let's just give it a play. All right, so we've got the regular old infantry squad, a couple of those. I set up a couple of custom squads, which I didn't really walk you through. I could do another video on that at some point because I really wanted the BAR, which is not available in just kind of the basic rifle squad. And then I also set up a flamethrower team just to kind of see what was out there. As you can see, the allies are already advancing. So let's get in and just come in as a medic. Maybe keep some of my buddies alive here. Turn off the HUD for a little more immersion. So even the graphics in this game are a little more of a low res aesthetic. You can really achieve some nice urban scenery here if you know what you're doing. If you take the time to distance props and add some fog into the background, and there are a lot of options available in the prop menu to combine things. It just takes practice to see what looks good, and it might look good in the editor, but when you jump in and play it in the live game, it doesn't look that great. As you can see, I got a little bit of tweaking over here. The Germans in this first phase just really try to rush across that bridge. You don't get as many setting up defensive positions there. I think all these houses are not overly useful at this point too. There's a few of them there. Oh, I'm getting shot at now. So yeah, they're over there on that bridge. Hey, look at that. We already captured that first point and I didn't even get up there, so that's why they're retreating across the bridge, I suppose. Let's just skip up. My whole squad's dead, looks like. So down here by the beach, I got a little gun emplacement here that can kind of help the Americans if they need some extra cover. Early on, it's really hard to get to this because the Germans have machine guns and stuff set up.
I'm under fire.
Well, it looks like a decent battle took place here. I guess we were just talking over it. Didn't get to see much of it. Let's go. Yeah, that first point sometimes it's not that hard to take, but the second point is usually a bloodbath.
He's down.
See if I can get up there. So I've tried to leave some other options here for the bridge. It's definitely a choke point. Oh, had to fix that spawn there. The bridge is definitely a choke point, but you do have some options. If you can make it this far, you can jump across. Oops. Oh, did I get him? No, I don't think I killed him. Oops. This is something that the bots don't do right now. They're not always great at like funneling through the buildings for cover. A little too much standing out in the open, like that guy.
Enemy down. He is gone. Grenade.
Toss that grenade out there.
Enemy down.
Ooh, that was a good one, I think.
I've been hit.
Oops. Heal up a little bit. Get my... Oh, I forgot I was playing as a medic. I haven't even been paying attention. So I added this one little thing here. It is possible to get up here and jump sometimes. Nope, not that time, but all right, let's go. I don't think this is a very safe place to go, but we're gonna try anyway. You got that machine gunner there. Ooh, I gotta try to take care of that machine gunner.
He is gone. Enemy down.
I don't think that Neville were for a shot one time.
Enemy down. Enemy down.
Oof. All right, let's take a look at the BAR here.
I'm going.
So the BAR is a pretty great weapon if you haven't used it much. You have multiple fire modes. So you have the single fire, which obviously is just one shot at a time. You have a fast fire full auto, which is 550 rounds per minute. And you can toggle to the 350 slow fire, which just kind of gives you some extra control while still allowing you to shoot a lot of rounds downrange. So a single fire kind of operates as a nice little assault rifle. You have a lot of control over accuracy and whatever. That guy took a couple of rounds and didn't go down. I found that the fast fire is a little too fast because it's a pretty small magazine, maybe only 20 rounds, so you can burn through it pretty quick. We gotta get it, try to take this point. Get a grenade over there. Gotta clear him out, try to take this point. There we go. I think we might have got him cleared out. Yeah, the Germans push pretty hard right up that street. It makes it hard to get over and get this foothold. I think we're about to get it.
Attack that position.
So there's a little bit of a spot for Overwatch here. Not sure I missed them. Almost out of ammo here. I guess I'm still wounded. Yeah. One magazine left. It's a swap to a different weapon. I'd like to just find a resupply crate. One of these guys. There we go. So yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but if you can drop a resupply crate of any unit, and even the Germans will refill your American ammo. All right, let's move up. This guy's kind of creeping around the corner. All right, onwards to the church. I think that there's some issues with the mesh in some of these broken walls where you can't quite shoot through them. So I may have to go back and tweak some of that, because that's a little bit annoying. Yeah, as you can see, like, I've definitely got my gun up and over, but I can't shoot. There we go. Ooh. Ooh. Stretched out a little too far there. I have my snack. Let's move on. So this little Overwatch position, if I fix up that wall, I think we'll give the Allies a good widespread view of this whole area. But I also added a little something here you can get across into this building.
I'm under fire.
Maybe a good sniper roost. That's another thing about level design that can be difficult to realize unless you really get in and play it a lot, is that you need to have these vertical positions to get into, and they just can really change the dynamic of your map. Oh man, that's a lot of Germans bunched up over there, but adding the vertical element just changes so much about your map, and having ways to get in and out of them safely sometimes is important. Sometimes you want it to be at risk. You want it to be like, oh, you got to rush to get into this roost, but once you're up there, if you can make it safely, then you'll really have a good vantage point over the enemy. Yeah, occasionally you get this where the bots sort of lose their way and get stuck. Maybe this guy's just sort of a coward or something, I don't know, but usually you just pull a friendly fire and get him to respawn. Not condoning that, it's just what happens to happen sometimes. Oh. Yeah, I've noticed that the Germans really bunch up in that side of the market over there. But if you can get around them, it's a pretty amazing spot for flanking, because they never really come back here. So let's see what we can do. Oh, I think they see me now. Let's see if I can get a grenade over there.
Attack that position.
I guess they moved up and captured it.
Enemy down. Enemy down. Enemy down. He is gone. He is gone.
So yeah, I can see how, like, in a multiplayer match where you can really coordinate well with your squad, you could keep the enemy pinned down and bring your squad around through this side. That's really what I was going for. Try to leave those flanking opportunities for the player, because otherwise it turns into a pretty good log jam of there's just a lot of bodies flying around. And all right, so let's move. That guy surrendered. Seems like they've moved up pretty well over here, but go check it out. Oh,
Enemy down.
how dare you shoot me in the back? I would never do such a thing. Yeah, they're pushing pretty hard right there. Oh, tearing them up. All right, come on. I get up here. I think there was one more left. Or maybe not. Oh, yeah. It helps when they all bunch up like that. Probably come right behind me again.
Charge! I'm moving.
Oh man, they took that objective. I didn't even get the... Didn't even make it over there. Now, last time I played, that one was almost impossible. Oh, look at that. Helping the enemy out. Look at that. But yeah, this is the building that is the objective, and we need to increase the size because I shrunk it down because it was just impossible last time. The Germans kept interfering with the capture, but I think that the capture point is probably too small. I realize I'm talking over some of this instead of just running up and getting in the mix of the battle, but that's what this is about. I just wanted to show y'all, you know, how I play test, and when I come in and I've got a map built and I want to see how it plays, I have to spend time watching it from different angles. Oh, got to get out of the way. I can get around behind him. Seems scary. Where is he? Oh, I guess he's gone.
I'm under fire. I'm under fire.
Seems like some heavy fire over here. Get some smoke. And sometimes those smoke grenades, they fly way too far. But I don't know, maybe that'll work. Oh, they're pouring across that bridge. I gotta get up there. Probably gonna get killed here. Oh.
There's an enemy right there. Enemy spotted. Hurt. There's an enemy right there. I need a medic.
Oh, can't get, I'm clipping into the terrain. Need to get into that building, get some cover. Oh shoot, I'm totally out of ammo. It'd be nice if you could request ammo drops instead of having to run around and find somebody. Ooh, there's somebody in there. I can get him. I think I'll just... Oh shoot, reload. Oh. Please don't come around the corner. Sure, I'm glad he... Oh, looks like I got some terrain issues here I gotta fix. I think this grass is probably too high back here. I can't see anything. Well, all that effort and it still died. Let's just come in and see if we can torch everybody out to the last. This flamethrower is devastating if you can get close enough. Oh, come on, guys. What are y'all doing? Seemed like an inefficient way to go through the house.
I'm under fire! I'm hurt! I'm under fire!
He's gone. Enemy down. Grenade! Enemy infantry. Enemy infantry. He's down. He is down. I'm hurt.
Oh, I got a little too impatient there.
Enemy down!
Man, that guy took some shots.
He is gone!
I need to make it so you can get through there.
I'm hit! He is gone! I'll take the lead. I'm reloading! I'm under fire!
See if we can get some more grenades in there. Maybe we go around from behind.
I'll take the lead. Grenade! Gone! I need a medic! Go, go, go!
Yeah, so you can kind of see just the last little bit of the map there. Oops. Yeah, maybe I'll try to get up top one of these buildings. See if we can pick off some of those guys that are tearing us up so much. I think this building has some Overwatch capabilities. Yeah.
Enemy down! He is gone! Enemy down!
Oh, I should have brought my machine gun.
I'll take the lead. I'm under fire! Enemy down!
I think that's a good one.
I'm hurt.
Oops. Well, I guess that's it. I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally clicked the exit button at the end, but yeah, so there you go. There's a kind of an overview of what it's like to work on a map from this stage. Once you've got everything built and you're really into the playtesting side, yeah, that's what I'm taking a look at. So um, feel free to drop any comments or questions you have, and if you're interested, I can do some more videos on the way that I actually went through and built this map, and kind of some tips on techniques on how to build some of these broken down buildings, and kind of the idea of what the flow of the map might look like, because it's changed a couple of times over the course of its life. But I'm still finding stuff, as you could tell. Like, there was some geometry problems, and I still find things like that I'm just like, that's not terrible, but it's just not perfect, and I'd like to go in and tweak it. And yeah, so there you go. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll just see you next time.